But first, you may recall last week on the program, I was talking about how Team Elevation, based in Colorado, needs to start getting a little more respect. We need to be talking about this team, sort of like how we talk about Fortis MMA. Well, these guys may be further along than Fortis MMA because they have Corey Sandhagen, they have Curtis Blades, they have Justin Gaethje, they have Drew Dober, they have Neil Magny, and they are headed up by that man, Eliot Marshall, the former UFC fighter, now the head coach over at the Team Elevation squad in Colorado. He's kind enough to join us for the first time. It's been a while. I actually was on his podcast not that long ago. Now he's returning the favor, coming on my show. Congratulations to all of you guys, Eliot, on the success as of late, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Ariel. I really appreciate it. Yeah, you're kind enough to have me on your show rather the other way.
No, and you know what I love about you? Crystal clear audio connection there. The video, watch me jinx myself now, but this is how I know that you're a professional. I mean, you come correct. You come with the goods.
I wanted to make sure that you get the call from Ariel, you get the call to the big show. Like, I gave my younger fighters this speech on Friday. I was like, man, some of you guys showed up late to practice, and man, I know your name's not on the board for cage rounds and yada yada, but you never know. Maybe it will be today. So you better, when coach calls your name, you better be ready to go. Ariel called my name, so here I am.
Well, I appreciate that very much. And again, congratulations to you and the entire squad on everything you guys have been doing. I want to start kind of at the beginning of this particular journey, this particular chapter in your life. So your last fight was in 2011. That was your last fight in the UFC. It was your last pro MMA fight. When did you start to transition over from pro fighter to coach?
So I have always taught martial arts, and I've always how would you say this? Like I came up through not quite like the first crop of guys, right? But the second crop maybe, where we were coaching each other all the time. Like I traveled to Japan. I was coach Dwayne Ludwig. I went to a bunch of his strike force fights. We all coached each other all the time. So there was never really a separation, I would say. And then once I retired, it was just, all right, here we go.
Okay, so you knew once you were done that this would be the next step for you?
Okay, so maybe not just this, right? Because we have 7 schools out here in the Denver metro area. So that last fight was on a Saturday night. On Tuesday, I was looking at the building to purchase where the current Denver space is now.
Wow. And why did you retire?
You are either going to be a world champion, or you're going to make millions and millions of dollars. Neither one of those paths were over for me. I tried really, really hard. Like I gave it my all, and I came up short. And we come up short sometimes. That happens. And what are you going to do? You have to take the lessons from your attempts and your shortcomings, and you have to move that to whatever is the next chapter of your life. Because fighting is so hard. Right? Like. Fighting is so hard. Like, I mean, people are giving Cowboy grief right now because, they're saying all this craziness about Cowboy. But look, Cowboy doesn't have to do that yet. He, as Connor says, he had a red panty night. So, yeah, you want to offer me $5, $10 million, $2 million, $3 million bucks to take a fight right now? Sure, sign me up. But that wasn't my pay grade.
Okay. And of course, you fought in the UFC multiple times, I believe 6 times. We're on the Ultimate Fighter Season 8. Had a nice solid run there, but you recognized that the time was up for you. And I'm wondering, as a guy who's been in the cage and has fought on big shows, but also now cornering people on the biggest of shows, which, like you said, tough, but which is tougher for you, to be the active fighter in there or to be on the outside looking in and not be, being able to prepare the fighter for the battle, but then when it comes to battle, you can't do much?
So it's 2 different things, right? When you are young, when you are the fighter, you are nervous for a really long time, right? You have this 8-12 week camp, whatever it is that you do, where you're like, man, holy shit, I'm really scared right now. And so you're used to that, and you're kind of used to the nerves. So like, there's that hard part of it, but then there's but as the coach, you're not really that nervous until boom.
Okay.
Walk.
Gotcha.
And you're like, whoa. And it gets kind of like, because you're like, whoa, I don't have any control over what's going to happen right now. This is 100% out of my control.
So you mentioned a couple of things there, which made me think
Yeah.
about some of the things you've talked about. So like I said, you have a podcast. You also have
Yes.
written a book. Remind me the name of the book and the podcast. Same name, right?
Same name, The Gospel of Fire.
Go-
The Gospel of Fire, and it's not a religious thing,
Mhm.
but my gospel is the fire.
You've talked openly about suffering from anxiety, depression, things like that. When was it at its worst for you? And I appreciate you being so open about this because I think not enough people are open about this. But for you, when was it the toughest for you dealing with those particular things?
So let's go back to when I retired. Right?
Okay.
And I think that was kind of a lead off to what happened 5 years later. You retire, you're trying to be the baddest dude in the world. You're trying to be John Jones, right? Undefeated. And the results, when you search Wikipedia, they don't lie. Like, they are what they are. And you're not. So I occupied my time with building the school, building the businesses, and doing that. And then, had some success with that. And then all of my insecurities about my life, about who I was, and all of these things, they came to a screaming halt 5 years later, with no reason. Like, my life was fine. I have a great family, the schools weren't crashing or any of that. And then it was at its worst in 2016, 5 nights, no sleep whatsoever. And then, man, it was, I call it my dance with the devil. The devil took its claws and it put them right in me. And he said, we're going to sit here for a while until you do some work, man.
Wait, 5 nights, no sleep?
Yeah, man, maybe 4 hours total over those 5 nights.
What was going on?
I was petrified. I don't know. Couldn't sleep. Petrified that I wasn't going to sleep. And then I like self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I made it happen. Pacing around the house, crying. You name it, man. You name it. It was the worst, one of the worst 5 days of my life.
Was it because you were afraid of the future? You were afraid of no longer being an active fighter?
All anxiety. No, I wasn't afraid of not being an active fighter. Like, that was 5 years. I was already out of that 5 years. It was just all of my insecurities about why I got into fighting, and the things that have happened to me through my life and my childhood growing up, and all of that had to do with why I became a fighter. And then, you build up this ego around, like, okay, I'm going to be the baddest dude in the world. And then you don't become the baddest dude in the world. And some things start talking to you, and then you're not listening to them and paying attention. And here you are, man. For me, mine portrays as anxiety. So that's how it went. Some people are depression.
How did you get help? Did someone take you somewhere? Did you figure it out yourself?
No,
How did you get back on track?
So, man, there's nobody in the whole world that's luckier than me. I truly believe that, because I have the best set of people in my life that will do anything for me. They'll do whatever is necessary. And one of them happens to be a doctor, and that last day of no sleep, when I got up, I called him, and he just had some medical solutions to get me some sleep that night, and then some long-term solutions. And then I got into therapy. And, man, what it was mostly, bro, because it's not like that demon of no sleep left. That stayed around for about 6 to 9 months. And, for the next 2 months, I'd say probably a month to two. I mean, I had this group of 3 friends, bro, that I would take my sleeping pills. I would have a panic attack that they didn't work within 5 minutes. I'd run down to my basement crying, and then I would get on the phone with them, and they would just talk to me. And sometimes that would put me to sleep, just like the sound of their voice. And then sometimes we'd be up all night, man.
And now at this time, you have kids, right?
I have kids.
Yeah,
I have 2 kids.
Do they see you in this state?
They see me in this state. My one was only 2 years old, so I don't know what he remembers. But my 6-year-old, my older, he was, look, the whole process would start is I would get in his bed with him, because he and I are the same beast. He's my mini. He looks exactly like me. He's me on steroids. Like, he's better than me, and his anxiety is here already.
Oh,
But at least he's got me, right? Because I know what this is like. So I would get in his bed and we call it hand, you know, and he would just take his hand and he would put it on my back, and then he would fall asleep, and then I would get out of the bed and then, you know, not fall asleep.
And so you mentioned that this was 2016. Here we are 3.5 or so, 4 years later. How are you dealing with that now?
Oh man, it's my best friend, Ariel.
What is your best friend?
My anxiety.
How so?
It is the beast that took me into the fire, and what I am, the person that I am trying to be, and the message that I am trying to spread is 100% because of that 6 to 9 months. And yeah, I don't ever like it when it's here to say hi in the moment, right? Like that is really terrible. But when it is afterwards, I know what I tell myself is like, yo, okay, whatever comes from this, it's going to be a better version of you. You know, like whatever comes from this will be a better version of you. You'll understand you better.
So it does pop up from time to time?
Oh yeah, and then, you know, I just have to say hi. I never want it to go away anymore. You know, I just say hi to it. Like the sleep thing, every night, Ariel. I mean, this sounds stupid, you know. I get in bed. You know, my wife and I, like whatever, we watch like a Netflix or something, and then like she'll roll over and fall to sleep, and I'll put Law and Order on, and then I'll just be like, okay, you're gonna stay awake all night, and this is every night, and then I start to get tired, and then I say, okay, you can close your eyes during the commercial, and then so I close my eyes during the commercial, and then yeah, eventually I'm like, oh shit, wait a minute, and I wake back up. I was like, oh, the show's on. I'm supposed to have my eyes open, and then it just like puts me. I reverse engineer the process.
Wow, every night?
Every night. I take control of the process. The plan is no sleep. I'm not sitting there trying to sleep. Every night, this is the process.
By the way, why Law and Order?
I don't know, man. Couldn't tell you.
I
like it.
Okay.
You know, it numbs my mind. You know, and I guess you don't know. Yeah, it numbs my mind, and I don't care.
Have you accepted that this is your life? This is your reality?
No. This is my reality right now. Who knows what? I try not to think too much about your life. You to do that, you say these two really terrible words called "what if," and you put them back to back together. And for me, and for people that suffer, these are the worst two words that you can use at the same time in the English language. It's just bloop, downhill.
Do your fighters know about this?
Oh yeah, I talk about it all the time. I wrote a book about it.
Right. I just didn't know if any of them,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I talk about it. I talk about it all the time. I think I'm a better coach because of it.
Why?
You know? I've what this whole process has made me realize is that it's never so much about me, and it's about we. And I heard a really good quote the other day. I gave some of my students their black belts, you know, and they're older guys. And whenever older guys like 40s and 50s get their black belts, they have like this little breakdown because, you know, there's some 20-year-old blue belt or purple belt that just destroys them, right? Because you're 40 or 50. And so they always think they're not deserving and yada, yada. And what my student told me, he was like, man, it's an African quote. And it's, I am because we are, and we are because I am. And we need each other, and we need all of each other, like the good and the bad. You need to sit there in the good moments. You need to be there in the bad moments. And that is the message of Elevation Fight Team, you know, and all of Easton Training Center, because Elevation Fight Team is a part of Easton Training Center, the forward facing part where you get to see Corey and Curtis and Neil and Drew and all of these other guys, and Gaethje now, right? All of these other guys that come into the school, man. And my goal, I mean, like, look, I hope we have 2 straps by the end of the year. You know, I think we could do it. That would be amazing. That would be really, really amazing. But would be even more amazing for me, to be super honest with you, is that all of the guys on the team that we have now, that they have amazing lives. Even the ones you don't know, even the ones that sit there and show up and train with the Corys and the Curtises and the Drews and the Neils, because that's just part of what it is, right? Everyone doesn't get to be Tom Brady, but Tom Brady needs those guys. So, man, I hope my goal is to spread as much love and positivity in the world, so that through martial arts, so that we can all live better lives, because I think it's the best way to spread the most positive message.
I relate very much to a lot of the things that you're saying. I've talked about my anxiety and all that stuff. And so I appreciate someone in your position talking about it as well. I also learned recently that we have a little more in common. You half of your side of your family is Jewish, and this blows my mind. I never knew about this because, I've covered a lot of your fights. I've known you for years.
Yeah.
Your grandparents on your mother's side survived the Holocaust. Is that accurate?
Yeah, there she is. That's my grandmother right there. That's my Baba. And the guy on the right there, that's my Zaidi, in Yiddish, Baba and Zaidi.
I had no idea.
That's them. Yeah, there it is.
Where
my mom sent me these pictures the other day.
Incredible. Where were they during the Holocaust?
They were in Poland.
Okay.
They were in Poland, man. And so much of what is great about me and what is and all of my like anxiety and stuff like that probably comes from that growing up. But I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, there's nothing I would change. Like, I lived in that house. Like, I lived with my parents. I had two great parents. Another reason why I say no one's luckier than me is because of that. And I got to, man, I have a very deep connection to that suffering in the Holocaust, because I lived with them, and you couldn't walk in that house without understanding. Like, my friend, like many people weren't allowed. Only really one of my friends ever came over that house, because it just wasn't allowed.
Why?
Because, man, because people are going to turn you into the Nazis, man. And
okay.
They see where you live and what you have. This is what I grew up with.
Wow.
They're coming for us again. They're going to come for us again. And if they see anything that you have, they'll very quickly turn you in. So, yeah, that was how it happened.
Were they together during the Holocaust, or did they meet afterwards?
No, they met afterwards.
Okay.
They met afterwards. My grandfather was the only survivor of 9 brothers and sisters, a mother and dad, aunts and uncles.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Yep.
And what about your grandmother?
Her and her mother and her sister, her oldest sister, survived. Her youngest sister, terrible story how she died.
Okay. Have you ever been to the concentration camps?
No, man, I don't really need to go.
Okay.
I've been to the concentration camps with them. Like, everyone says that I need to go to understand the suffering. I don't need to go to understand the suffering, man. Like, I got filled in with all of the details.
Are they still alive?
No, man, they passed. My grandmother passed in 2000, and my grandfather passed in 2010. He saw everyone die, man. Like, other than me, my mom, and my sister, because my mom had a brother, and my uncle ended up dying too, and my grandfather had to witness all of that. And then, like, right at the end of his life, he got to meet my little boy, like my firstborn child.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was the last time I saw him.
Are you religious?
No. I believe that there's something greater than us. I believe in the possibility. I'm a possibilian, Ariel. Anything is possible. I don't believe what we've been told so far is possible, but everything else could be. And but I used to not like religions, and now, man, look, to get through the day, you do what you got to do, man. People do what they got to do to get through the day, and if you can do that without hurting anybody or harming anybody, then you do it. You do it, because life's a fight. Henzo says it best. Life's a fight. Everyone's fighting something. So who am I to say this is true or that's true? Or I don't know, man. Like, I don't even really think about it anymore. My job is to first and foremost raise these 2 little boys that are in my control, under my wing right now, to the best of that ability, to then be the best husband that I can to my wife, and then I have students. I have a lot of students, you know, at the schools here, and my goal, and I include my fight. I don't call my fighters fighters. They're not fighters. We're all students, you know. My goal is to be the leader of that, and put out the best positive message that I can, so that they can go out and live the best life. So I call it find your power, so that everybody that comes around, that walks in the door of Easton or hears the message on the podcast or wherever, can go out there and find their power, you know. And I don't know what anybody's power is going to be, but yeah, you know. So I mean, I like these guys, like all the guys you just showed, Curtis and Drew and Corey. Like, man, like they're killing it, right? They're killing it, and we have a team of guys that are killing it, and it's an amazing thing what's happened with Elevation.
Yeah, it's a great story, and I think that you guys should be talked about a little more, and there should be more attention on you. I know you're not seeking that, but it's amazing what you guys have been doing. I think Corey is on the verge of a title shot. I think what happened to him a couple weeks ago was not very fair, to put it mildly. Curtis is doing incredible stuff. He's very close, and Dober looked amazing in his fight at 246. Could you just describe the mood of the team right now, with everyone peaking and everyone doing such great things? Gaethje, as you mentioned, what is it like in the gym these days?
The mood of the team is never different. The mood of the team is always the same, because we have a common goal that is much. Their small goal is champion, right? Their small goal is world champion, but that's not the goal. That's not what we're doing, you know. And I guess maybe we don't deserve everything yet, and I understand that, because we haven't made a champion. Like, we don't have one. But like I said, man, like everyone understands the path. The path is an amazing life, you know, and that amazing life is going to come in so many different ways. It's like right now, when you have that calmness about it, like that, because that's what we have on the team, is we have this togetherness, because we have so many coaches. Like, I know you're interviewing me right now, but I'm only the head. I'm only the head coach of like the team. Each fighter has his guy or his coach. Like, Curtis has Vinny, and Curtis, you know, Vinny Lopez is amazing. Cody Donovan is Curtis's head coach as well. Like, these guys are amazing. Like, and we're not in this like we just do it different, Ariel. We like the gym doesn't make any money, or the team doesn't make any money from Curtis. Like, only his guys do. And I get, and I know this is different in the fight game. Like, I get financially nothing from Curtis, not a penny. And 70% of his practices occur in my facilities. But that, I don't care. Like, that's not why I'm doing this. Like, that is not why I'm doing this at all. So, and you know, and we just remove, like, look, everyone pays. I'm not saying that the guys don't pay, but we just remove that, like, because it just destroys teams. Money destroys it, right? Like, you got to pay the gym and the coach and this and your manager, and man, you know, like, I think we all have this rule. Like, I don't even think I take that much money from the guys until they have $100,000 in the bank. And when they have $100,000 in the bank, then we can talk.
Well, keep doing your thing, my man.
Take a little bit.
Yeah, no.
I take a little bit, right? And all the coaches do it differently, you know, but like, our team is so special because we've removed that money thing, and we are literally there for the guys, and we love them, and we want them to be happy.
I wish you guys nothing but the best, continued success, and what a story you have. If anyone wants to listen to your podcast, again, Gospel of Fire, the book, Gospel of Fire, wherever you can get podcasts, right?
Wherever you can get podcasts. Look, everything you can get to from my Instagram too.
Okay.
It's at Fire Marshal 205. At Elevation Fight Team as well. You can hit any of us up. We'll respond. Come if you want to come check us out. Come check us out. There's no barrier of entry.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Thank you, Eliot. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you do such a great thing for MMA, man. Like, just getting the word out there, and like your honorable mentions, like, that's great. Like, guys doing great things in the sport. Like, that is because that's the message, right? Positivity.
Yes, sir. All the best to you. Great to have you on, Eliot, and we'll talk to you soon. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, Ariel.
There he is. Eliot Marshall, former UFC fighter, now head coach over at Elevation Fight Team in Colorado. What a story that is. And I do suggest checking out the book and the podcast as well. All right.